Hi.
Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. If you are brand new here, my name is Nikki and this is my book nook. And today we are talking about Bully by Penelope Douglas. If you guys have watched my channel for any amount of time, you would know Penelope Douglas is basically my favorite author. She is just like my tried and true, cannot do any wrong. I have yet to be disappointed by a book by her, and I've pretty much read every single book that she's written. She's an instant buy. I just know she won't disappoint. She writes incredible stories. She writes incredible spice. She writes incredible worlds, stories, and series that interweave with each other, just characters that you can't get out of your brain. I just love her. So it's about dang time that I read the first book that she ever wrote, the book that made her an author, her debut novel, Bully. And especially because if you follow Penelope closely, you would know that she just came out with a new book called Falls Boys. To be quite honest, I thought this book was called Fall Boys until about 2 months ago. Like, that's what it was in my brain, but now I know that it's Falls Boys, which is kind of difficult to say, but not that important. This book is going to be the first book in what is the Hellbent series. It's a 6-book series, and Penelope has said that you can read it by itself. Like, it's not that big of a deal if you just go straight into it, but it is technically a spin-off series of the Fall Away series, which is the series that Bully is the first book in. Does that make sense? So me being me, I'm a stickler for, I want to follow an author's process. They know what they're doing. They write books in a certain order. Like, you're meant to read them in the order that they write them, and you're meant to follow their instructions. So as freaking excited as I am for Falls Boys, like, it has been one of my most highly anticipated reads just in the last year. Like, I have been dying for a new Penelope book. I'm like, I want to do it justice. I want to be able to fully appreciate it. I want to understand the Easter eggs and whatnot that appear throughout the book. So I need to read the Fall Away series first. So that is what I did. That is why we were here. I finally read Bully, and I'm very excited to talk to you about it. This book was written quite a while ago. If I'm correct, I think it came out in 2013, which I'm really starting to feel old because 2013 does not feel that long ago, but if you think about it, it's 9 years ago. That just kind of made me nauseous. I like went to high school prom, like I was like a junior in high school in 2013, so that makes me feel kind of weird. But yeah, this book is kind of old. It's nearly a decade old, so that is definitely something that I kept in mind as I was reading it, and also something that I could just kind of tell right away as I was reading it, and I will get more into that. But as always, I just want to kind of give you guys a general synopsis and go over what this book is about, spoiler free, and then we'll kind of dive in more and I'll give you my thoughts and overall review. So yeah, let's just get into it. So this story follows a girl named Tate. She grew up in this sort of small town right next door to this boy named Jared. Her and Jared were the best of friends growing up. They always, you know, went on little adventures together, had little picnics in their backyard, just like the story of like being best friends with the neighborhood boy next door. And over time, like as they grew, they continued to be friends. But one summer, Jared went away to spend the summer with his dad, and whenever he came back, things were never the same again. Jared just was a completely different person, totally turned on Tate, and started to quite literally bully her. It was like out of nowhere, he hated her, and then from there, going into like junior high, going into high school, they just had this like, I wouldn't even call it a rivalry, like it was pretty one-sided. Like Jared just literally picked on Tate all the time, spread horrible rumors about her, would like humiliate her in public, to the point that like Tate pretty much just like wouldn't want to go to events that other people from her high school were going to be at that she knew Jared would be at, because he is like the most popular guy in school. Like he has a reputation, like he gets around, like all the girls love him, but like he's just horrible to Tate. And basically at the start of this book, we're learning that Tate is about to go away herself. She's going to France for a year to study abroad. So we do see like one interaction with them before she does leave to kind of get a taste of their relationship and how things are between them and the way that Jared treats her, which is awful. And then this book jumps forward to after Tate returns from France. And we all know in high school, a lot happens year to year. We change a lot, we mature a lot. physically, mentally, everything. So now this book really starts with Tate coming back from France, and you know, homegirl's grown up a little bit. Like she's looking good, she's matured, she's gotten over Jared's shit basically, and she's not prepared to take any more from him. Like she's not gonna put up with it. She's not gonna let him walk all over her and like ruin her senior year. So that's where things get a little spicy and angsty. Jared is very ready to just continue his antics. She's heard around from school that after she left, he was like more unbearable than ever. But he's ready for her to be back, and she's not ready to put up with it. And they actually end up going head to head a lot. They have several interactions where she just, normally when she would cry and run away, she has a backbone now and she's ready to stand up to him. And Jared doesn't quite know how to react to that. And from there, we just get a good old bully romance. I'm gonna be quite honest, like this book is not in a lot of ways very revolutionary. It is a pretty standard like bully romance story. That being said, I want to go back to the idea that this book was written nearly 10 years ago, and that nearly 10 years ago, this idea was very revolutionary. I feel like a lot of people would read this nowadays and be like, oh, this is just like a Wattpad story, it's super basic. But first of all, I don't like the Wattpad slander in general, because Wattpad has some great books, some great authors. Like there's a reason Wattpad is so well known, because we all love it and we all eat it up. Like this reminded me a lot of Wattpad stories I would read around this time. But it was really well written, and even though I will say the first like 100 pages were very slow for me, it took me about 5 or 6 days, I would say, to really get into the first 100 pages. But once I got to a certain point, it was like free flying, is that a term? I don't know. I just went full speed ahead. I think that's what I was trying to say. Full speed ahead from there, and I just couldn't put it down. Like I read the last 250-ish pages in one sitting. Like I couldn't stop reading it, and it was so good. It was so angsty. It had some spice, like Penelope Douglas is known for her spice, and there definitely was that in this book. It was not as intense as it is in her other books and some of her newer books, but still, I was plenty satisfied from what we read. I love the trope. In general, I love the trope of like friends to strangers to lovers, but this added like a whole new fun element to it, because it's like friends to strangers to freaking enemies that are at each other's throats to lovers. And Jared is that kind of character where it's like, if I can't have you, no one else can have you, or like, even though I don't want you and I treat you like crap, still no one else can have you, like you're mine. And just, he has this like claim he's staked on her for all this time. And of course, as it is in real life, as it is in stories, bullies typically have a deeper, darker story to them and a reason behind why they are the way that they are. So we get to kind of see that side of Jared. We get to see things kind of develop and unfold, and it was just a good story, dude. It was an easy read. After those first 100 pages, like I said, those first pages, it was a little hard for me to get into. Gonna be honest, as always. I do feel like knowing Penelope Douglas's work really well, feeling very well versed in it, like it was obvious to me that like this was her first book, and it's not her best book, but your first book shouldn't be your best book, you know? Like you can just see how much she's grown from writing this, and I think it's just, it's so cool to go back and read this. Like you can totally see how she's developed, and like, it's just so Penelope Douglas. Like it's such a perfect starting place for all the other stories that have come out of her and her writing. And yeah, I'm literally thrilled to read the rest of the series. I jumped straight into the second book, which is Rival, and this series is a lot like the Devil's Night series from what I can tell just from jumping between these two books, because this book is about a different couple, but it is about characters that did appear in this book. At least one of them is. Like the story continues, but also this is the point of view and focused on a different couple, just like the Devil's Night series is. You know what I'm saying? This one was completely just Tate's point of view. This one is dual point of view. I don't know why I'm going off about this book. We're not talking about this book right now. We will more when I review it shortly, because I'm already almost done with it because I flew through it so fast. But yeah, I really liked this book. I love Penelope Douglas. I'm so excited to read Falls Boys. Like, I'm gonna fly through this series as fast as I can. It's weirdly hard to find some of the books in this series. Like, I'm gonna have to just get them on my Kindle because it's like the paperbacks are either really expensive or just straight up like not available on Amazon. It's kind of odd, I guess, because they're kind of old, and this was with like a publisher where her new books are not. I'm going off on a tangent. Anyways, I liked Bully. I would love to hear y'all's thoughts on it. I would love to hear your favorite Penelope Douglas book in general. I'm still a sucker for Credence and the Devil's Night series. Like, they have my heart. But yeah, excited to read more and see where this series goes. But that is it for me today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will talk to you very soon. Bye.